Oh, so you didn't even hear all the stuff that I was talking about. I was laughing at myself because I was like, oh my gosh, I look like Barney. And then I was trying to fix it. Okay, I think you can hear me now. Yeah, it was me looking at myself and saying, "Oh, I look purple." And then I was trying to fix it. And then but y'all missed that whole thing. But it was probably good that you didn't hear it. So silly, so silly. Anyway, hello y'all. Hi, I'm here. I'm being silly. It's 10:30 my time. And it's good to see y'all. It's good to be seen. We're gonna talk about my anniversary, y'all. Hey, technically it was like I don't know how many days ago, a little over 2 weeks ago. But I was in Spain, so we're celebrating today. It's the same month, so that's all that matters. Hey, Winnie, thank you. And wait, who was first in the chat? Classic X said, Black people don't leave America, they escape it. It's not for us. I agree. I agree. I agree. Hey, Action VJ is in the house. Hey, hey, hey. Love Park Connection. My piece. Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? Welcome back. Um, Tanya, how you doing? Teresa, hey, hey, hey. Sheila, hey. Yes, I know. I had myself on mute um, because I just be talking to myself like, oh my gosh, Krishan, you look like Barney. But now I don't look like Barney because I fixed it. I fixed it. I was messing. I was messing. I was trying to do mood lighting, but then I'm like, no, if I have the wrong light, then you guys are gonna think it's another episode of Global After Dark. And it's not. Although I wish I did have something spicy to talk about, but who knows? We'll see. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kay Renee. I mean, this has been the fastest year of my entire life, let me tell you. Hey, Steven. Steven's one of our channel members. You too can be a channel member. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so wild. Yes, feliz aniversario. Ah, obrigada, minha. Yes, 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 yes. Because, we came together, many of us. I think some of you know the story. From Blacks Global, there were 12 of us over 2023. Total, but 10 that arrived around the same time within like 2 weeks of each other. So we're all celebrating our anniversary together, including our friend Nicole. Yay! Hey, from Germany. Oh my goodness. Germany's been on my mind a lot lately. Probably because next month is the whole like Oktoberfest thing. And I was like, oh, can I do that? But this year is not the year for me to do Oktoberfest. Sadly. I will explain why. But yes, what part of Germany? But it is on my list. I think it's a 2025 visit, but I'm not 100% sure. Michelle, hey, hey, hey. Hey, Sheila, how are you? Oh, thank you. Thank you. That job doesn't deserve you anyway, so it is best that you celebrate with me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Like I said, this has been the fastest year of my life. So much so that I'm just like, slow down, time. Like, let me enjoy this. I mean, I have been enjoying it. I mean, I've had the best year of my life. But that said, like, I wanna let it simmer. Hey, PI, how you doing? Pinky's in the house. I know. I did. I did. Y'all know the first like 30 seconds you were like, you're giving Barney. Meriton's in the house. Yes, I know. Look, so many comments on the Blacks of Global After Dark video. Oh my goodness. Y'all want another one? I don't know how I'm gonna pull it off or what have you, but I guess it's gonna have to happen. I need to put my air conditioning on because it is quite warm in here. I just realized. Yes, I know. Black's Global After Dark. If you haven't seen that episode, it was about 3 weeks ago. It's spicy. It's spicy. Kimmy's in the house. Hey, hey, hey. I'm glowing. I don't know. I think it might have been like the glistening from me being hot in this room. I know it is. It is flying by because I'm having so much fun. Hey, Geraldine, how you doing? Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Bayesian Alpha, how are you? Yes. Hi, Jametta. Yes, so much fun. I know, Teresa, you gotta come back. Gotta come back for a visit. Greta Cobb is in the house. Hey, hey, hey. Yes, Portugal is a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, lots to talk about. It's been a busy day for me. And part of what we're going to talk about in celebrating my 1 year abroad is like lessons learned, things that I didn't expect. One of them that is not on the list, but something that I didn't expect to enjoy or indulge in as much as I do is sleep. I did not realize maybe either how sleep deprived I was in the United States or how necessary it is to have siestas. In countries that encourage sleep midday, man, I did not know I needed that in my move abroad journey. I was just like, oh, what country? What's safe? What's, affordable? What has good health care? What has rest as part of its culture? That, baby, mama takes her siestas and enjoys it. I realize when I don't have my siestas, I can get a little grumpy. I can get a little grumpy, maybe even unkind, but I like them. I like them. I welcome them. And so I have a routine. At least once a day, I take a siesta. Sometimes, most days, twice. Today, I had none. Tomorrow, I will have none, which means Saturday, I must try my best, although most likely it will not happen Saturday. So I'm having a little something. Maybe even Sunday. But Sunday is accountability group, so I'm probably going to be able to squeeze it in by Sunday. But yes, a culture that embraces, encourages rest. Ooh, that is a lesson that I have learned this past year. Um, indeed, indeed. Michelle, you cracking me up. We talked about hobos. We talked about all kinds of stuff. That episode was fun. So yes, as part of my new move abroad journey, as part of your move abroad journey, right? Because if you're here, you're interested in moving abroad. Um, oh yeah, I just realized I didn't introduce myself. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Krishan. Hey, hey, hey. I'm the founder of Blacks Global, the host of the Blacks Global podcast. If you're a Black person, you want to move abroad, hey, hey, hey. I'm your girl. I help people move abroad. I inspire people to move abroad. What else? Blacks Global is, what was it? I think we're coming up on season 7 of the podcast, or maybe season 8. I can't even remember. I should. But nevertheless, I'm going to tell y'all next season, I think it's 8. It might be 7. Either way. No, it is 7. It is 7. Season 7 is next year. Um, it is coming back in January. So y'all know if you listen to the podcast, you get about 5, 6 months worth of conversations, and then Mama takes a nice hiatus. My hiatus is almost done, and so I am in pre-production for the podcast, and we will be back with new episodes in January. You've heard it here first. Yes, siestas are a game changer as well as blackout like blinds. Like when I was in the UK last week, so those of you who tuned in last week, I was in the UK. At that point, I was in Bath, right? Because I had Stephanie and Rashida on from Exodus Summit. Oh, and as a friendly reminder, for those of you who are interested in attending Exodus Summit, the Summit for Black Women. This year's theme is moving abroad, something that I know a lot about. Definitely get your ticket. I will put the link right there, dropped it. And then also, because you know it's summit season, your girl's also co-hosting a summit as well for those of you who are interested in moving to Portugal. Myself and our Black Utopia are co-hosting the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit 2024. So it's your opportunity to get your ticket. And if you are interested in moving to Portugal, it's your one-stop shop. So it's good. It's great. So those are there for you. So what else? Let me think about this past year. It has been a whirlwind on so many levels. I have grown in so many ways. I have been amazed in so many ways. I've met so many wonderful people, including last night. I was at an event and got to meet another guest in person from the podcast from this past season, Lori Tharps, who is here in town. Also got to see one of our guests on this channel from a few months ago, Kathy Hampton. And so it was very wonderful to see her as well. And it's just been, the whole thing, this whole move is like better than I expected. So I definitely have a list of like things that I've learned. But I definitely wanted to share like that first being rest. Whew, like rest. So here's a list. Here's a list. No particular order. So we'll talk through some of these. I would love to hear some of your feedback. Hey, Malcolm's in the house. Study buddy. Hey, study buddy. Where'd my little thing go? Okay, here we go. Gratitude becomes second nature, which it does. Like it is something that I wake up and throughout my day, like I literally pinch myself because I'm in such deep gratitude for this journey, for the people I get to meet, the lives I get to influence, um, the beauty that surrounds me on a daily basis, and you know the physical beauty, of course, of the landscape here in Portugal, but the beauty and the kindness of the people that I meet. Um, and just being grateful to be at this season of life. In addition, in my gratitude, I started thinking about some other things, like the fact that, yeah, I could say, wow, you know, it was always my lifelong dream to move abroad, and it didn't happen until I was 49. But I also thought, like, wow, what a wonderful time to be a Black expat, because guess what? I have technology as my friend. Like I can be here and find my way around not only this country, you know, like I said, last week I was in the UK, the week before that I was in Spain, and yeah, I traverse around Portugal. I'm able to move about this world, this floating rock called Earth, to communicate with other people because I have this little mini computer, always here, and ask for help or translate ingredients or whatever. So it is a great time to be on this journey. And so I don't sit and wallow and think about, wow, I do have my moments where I reflect and say, oh, I wish I had been able to do this earlier or had been able to give my children this experience in their formative years. But gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm doing it now. And so for anybody who's thinking about it or, wondering if it will happen, when it will happen, it should have, or you could have done it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, or maybe it's too late. It is never too late. It is never too late. I am in deep gratitude for being here on this journey. Oh, you did? Oh my gosh. Yes, she is in Spain, and then she's here for her writing retreat, which she talked about on the podcast, and so it was really great to finally meet her in person. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome! Yeah, it is. It is a wonderful time. Hey, I'm like Utopia's in the house. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, it will. The timing is right. Like you can have, and I was actually having this conversation with someone last night. Like you can have your idea about how you want things to unfold, when you want things to unfold, but I think you have to give it time and space for things to unfold the way they're supposed to. Because what I've also realized in this journey is nothing's wasted. So I guess that gets to the next one. Your idea of success shifts, right? I am someone, and I talked about it on this channel a few months back, who was, poster child of Black excellence, National Honor Society, Dean's List. I played at Carnegie Hall when I was 12. I'd done other things, right? So many things that sometimes I don't remember. But all that is to say, there were times in my life where I felt like, oh my gosh, I peaked early, and I think it was I think it was because I was in America and there's this whole, output and competition and productivity that you have to always strive for, even if you don't want that, even if that is not something that motivates you. You kind of get sucked into that as part of survival, right? Out of necessity. And so for me, making the decision to retire early too was like, you know what? I don't need to be an attorney. I don't need to be general manager or VP or whatever the things that I thought I want, CMO, all that stuff. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm better than good. Right? So, success for me is having a day where sometimes I just sleep in or take time to watch sunset and drink some sangria. Success is also the people that I get to help and inspire. Many of you are really great about sending emails. Actually, I got one today, or private messages, and comments on the show when you listen to an episode. Those are the things that light me up. Actually, at last night's event, people came up to me, and it always still humbles me in so many ways when people either recognize my voice when I'm speaking or my face, and just talking about like following the show, having it be a source of inspiration along their journey. that means a lot. And I define, in my mind, right, success differently as a result. It's not about, whatever, 5 figure bonus. It's about, you know, whose life am I impacting and how much peace I have in this version, in this chapter of my life. And so I think that's something that many people, as they've been making this transition, and like I said, many of us have been here together because we moved at the same time and all hitting our anniversary around the same time and reflecting. It's like, wow, how we define success. Success is, like I said, watching the sunrise, the sunset, taking off and, going for a walk, sleeping in, you know. It is not about what other people um, think, because that's the other thing that I've realized that, especially with a year away from the States, I care a lot less what people think in their opinions in general than their opinions of me. Um, because when I was younger, I think that's just, again, just something that you get accustomed to. Like, oh, does someone like me? What are they thinking? Their preoccupation, and me being an introvert that tended to ruminate a lot. I'd be like so paranoid. Now it's like, I don't give a shit what you think. You like me, you don't like me. It's okay. I'm good. But yeah, it's just a really great time. And also too, I think when you watch people who are blessed enough to age and you see, probably people in your own family as they get older, they just get really loose lipped because they're like, look, I don't know how much time I got on this clock. What do I care? I'm just going to say what's on my mind, right? And so that is also the confidence and the liberation. I love it. I love it. The luxury bucket list. Hey, hey, hey. Aw. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for you to come. That is so fantastic. Let me tell you, it is worth it, right? Regardless of where you are in the path, it is all worth it. Um, the other thing that I've learned in this journey, reverse culture shock. Ooh, baby. When I go to from whence I came, it is something. So some people know, like, I hosted Nomad Noir, a scout house in August. And, it takes a while when people come to visit, especially if they're coming to Europe for the first time. Sometimes they're not used to the dinner hour being later, times and parts of the day, things are closed for siesta, or it might be, closed, like I said, closed for siesta, hours are weird. Sometimes they're not open at all. It's a whole different thing. But also the terrain, right? Especially in Portugal, Lisbon in particular, it's a hilly place, right? It's literally a city laid on 7 hills, right? Depending on where you are in the city, you could hit all 7 of them. And every day is a workout. So when I started traveling solo in 2017, I went to New Zealand, which is not hilly at all. Um, but I did observe people, always being outside, kids playing in the park, a lot of physical activity. And I made a concerted effort, although I had done it anyway, because, New Zealand from New York was like a 29-hour flight. And I had never been on a flight longer than maybe like 6 hours at that time in my life. And so I made it a point to like start working out and doing all this stuff so that I could be okay on such a long flight. And so every time I travel, especially when I go Asia, any other like long haul, like I always increase my physical activity because I'm getting older, planes, they're kind of tight. But also when you get there, like you want to explore, you want to have enough physicality. And I knew myself enough to know that I was living a seriously sedentary lifestyle, that I always had like, one of these watches or something on. And at best, I was doing 3,000 steps in an entire day. Now, living here, let's see, what does my trusty watch say for today? Okay, 13,809 steps. So just under 6 miles today. I'm gonna burn like 670 calories. I was just walking. I didn't work out today. But the reverse, that's just culture shock, right? The reverse culture shock, right, is then going back to America and seeing McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks on every corner, people driving everywhere, very few, if any, sidewalks. If you do see people on sidewalks, they're not looking at you, they're not acknowledging your existence. Um, it's a very, it's a very interesting place. And so whenever I go back to the States, I have to, just like I would physically prepare to go to other parts of the world, I mentally have to prepare for going back to the United States, as well as physically, I started realizing. Because what happens often when I do go to visit, and it's only been, I think, 3 times? No, twice in the year that I've been abroad, that I now realize when I go back to the States, I need to increase my workout because I am like a potato the entire time. And not because I don't enjoy walking and things like that. It's because if I'm walking around, I'm fairly tall. I'm walking around in my black skin. I look like, why is she walking? Like, where's her car? Why is she looking at the trees? Why is she looking at this house? Is she casing the joint? You look like you fit the description. Mm-mm. So I stay in, I retreat, I make my world small because America does a great job of making your world small. And in doing so, it makes you fear the other, right? And as someone who is now living a life abroad as an immigrant, my world is bigger than I could have ever imagined. I was on the metro coming back today, because today was first day of my Portuguese language class. And I was listening to people on the metro, and some were speaking English, some were speaking Portuguese, a few people were speaking French. And that's like my everyday. And then I go back to America, and actually, a friend of mine had sent me a picture from the Garden State Parkway yesterday, and it had this big old flag that had said Kamala Harris is an idiot, and they hung it from the Garden State Parkway overpass. And I was like, yeah, that is what I left. Like, I remember I used to go to the beach all the time. And those of you who listen to the podcast, you know that it was on the beach that I decided to finally make my dream come true and go to New Zealand. And I did that for years, going to the beach, like every weekend. And then after a while, around 2018 ish, 2017 definitely, but 2018 ish, it really stopped being an enjoyable activity because people are putting up their Trump flags. I see, all this Blue Lives Matter paraphernalia, all this other stuff. And again, making your world smaller. I cut out activities to avoid certain things. Where now it's like my world is not chasing the things I left behind, because I don't feel that I'm chasing anything. If anything, I feel like I'm in this season of abundance and attracting the things that are good and for my greater good. But it's just the reverse culture shock is real to see. And it's it's sad. It's sad actually when you think about it. My existence in the States was a very lonely existence on many levels. I am Karen Louise. Hey, girl. Hey. Greetings from California. Hey. Thank you. Yes. I cannot believe it's been a year. Yes. Wait. Now I'm going back to some of the comments. Wait. Luxury Buckler said, I'm telling you, Bailey. Oh, Bailey's going to have a boyfriend. Yes. I thought you were going to say, I was going to have a boyfriend. I'm like, word? Really? Oh my gosh, Yoga Bliss Dance, congratulations. Wow, that is awesome. Very, very cool. That is so great. 18 countries represented. That's fantastic. Congratulations. I know that meant a lot to you. Congratulations. Wow, that is so true. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Yeah. Oh, congratulations. Okay, let's see. We'll go back to my list. Uh, Other thing, you learn to live with less. I was never one to be one that accumulates stuff. I'm pretty good at throwing things away for the most part. I do have Marguerite. I don't think is here, but she's been in my apartment. I do have two junk drawers, but they're not. I mean, they are junk drawers, but it's because when I first moved here a year ago, right, I didn't throw any paper away because half the time I didn't know what it said. And then it was like, oh, what if I needed to return something? Or what if I needed to prove something for immigration? So I kept all these papers, all these receipts and everything like that. So now I have two drawers in my kitchen that like have like all these receipts in it. And so now I'm like forcing myself to go through and pluck out a couple every couple days and shred them, because I'm like, look, now I've passed, I've got my residency card, I've got, cable and everything else installed. Like, I don't need to have all these pieces of paper. But that said, like in my apartment, I would consider it to be pretty minimalist. I still, even though I moved my office into the smaller of the bedrooms, there's still a bit of an echo in here. And I know that I could, like, I don't know, put a rug or do something else. But it's like, why? Why? So I live with less. Um, and it makes me happy. It's less to clean, less to wash. I don't have a washing machine, but I mean, not a washing machine. I don't have a washing machine. I don't have a dryer. I don't have a dryer. So I wash my clothes and I put it on a dryer on my balcony. Most of the time, it's on my balcony, and just let it air dry. And so living a year without a dryer was not something that I thought that I would encounter. Now it's like, I mean, literally the whole time I've been here, even when I scouted, I never went to a laundromat. I've never used the coin laundry mat. Everything that I need to wash fits in my washing machine. It's actually quite large. And then I just plan ahead. Like, today, I washed one of the big comforters because I had people staying over when I was out of the country and needed to wash all the bedding. I just know, well, it's going to take me a couple days to get through all of this. And that's okay. Like, I could go to the laundromat, but it's like, do I need to do that? It's like, no, this is my contribution to the environment. I'm retired, right? I have dominion of my time. And so those are the things that I can do without. I also haven't made it a point to replace some of the things that I had in my old life. Like I didn't buy a KitchenAid mixer when I moved here. I didn't buy an air fryer, and that was like those were the two appliances that I used a lot. Um, but now I'm also changing, my diet and taking out some things like, a lot of bread and things like that. And so it's like, no, I've learned that less is more in my life. And that's a fulfilling thing. Geraldine said, traveling around the US can be so stressful. Not all Americans, but many believe we shouldn't have access to nature or city walking. Anti-black feelings by many are so limiting. You got that right. Yeah, I don't walk when I'm in the States. Mm-mm. I walk my behind off here all the time. And so much so that my behind is looking quite perky. But when I'm in America, man, even if I'm there like a week, I mean, the most I would do is like 9 days. That's my limit. But by the time I come home, and home being here. My ass isn't as perky anymore. No, it is flat like a pancake. A widely spread pancake. Because I'm sitting on my ass, I'm sitting in the car. That's all I do. And then I get bored because there's nothing to do. And when I'm bored, all of those things that mindless things, oh, let me go get some fast food, or oh, let me, put away a pint of Ben and Jerry's or Haagen Dazs, and like things that I don't do to excess here, even though the food tastes great. The wine is amazing and plentiful, um, as is the gelato. But I don't overindulge, you know. I don't. Hey, Jess. Yay! I'm glad you get to hang out with me and celebrate my anniversary. Anniversario. Let's see. Where was I up to? Small wins, yes, are monumental. So for me, like every day, there's a small win. Um, it might be like, having a conversation with someone. I am where I live is pretty local here in Lisbon. And because I have Bailey, I walk her multiple times a day. I see people, I pick up words because they'll ask me questions, and then like I'll listen for context clues and then I'll figure it out. Or if I hear a word, then I'm like, oh, wait, I need to look it up and kind of figure out what that means. So it's helped with my vocabulary. But sometimes, like a small win is when I'm not having to back translate. Like when someone's saying something to me and I can understand without thinking like, oh wait, what does that mean in English? And then trying to think of what my response should be in Portuguese. And this woman asked me for this was the day before yesterday, and she asked me for she had her dog out and she was asking me for a bag and for the dog's poop. And like I understood what she said, and I was like, "Oh, okay," Or I was having a conversation with this old gentleman that lives in the neighborhood. He knows I'm an English speaker, but he will talk me blue. But it's great. Like sometimes in the moment, I'm not in the mood because I'm like, "Oh Lord," like I haven't had my coffee or something like that. But sometimes I really enjoy it because he'll teach me a word, or, because we're staying in the conversation and he's not letting me go. Like I have to really think about and listen for clues and then try and figure out what he's saying. And it just attunes my ear. And so for me, these small wins, these Atta girls, like make me feel confident where I can go in a store and ask for things or, navigate. So that is something that I've been enjoying. Another small win, which may not be too small of a win, but today, like I said, it was the first day of Portuguese class. And look, your girl's got her textbook. Ew. So today, because of some of you probably know, Portugal is experiencing some fires, wildfires. And so our instructor wasn't able to be there for our very first day, Monday and Tuesday. So I go 4 days a week. And so today was actually our first day of class. And then afterwards, uh, me and my study buddies, we went to FNAC, which is one of the stores here. It's like a Best Buy, and picked up our textbook. So I was kind of perusing it before the live. And not so oddly enough, because clearly they didn't write this book for English speakers because it's in Portuguese. And so I'm like, oh, I thought that some of the prompts and things like that would be in English. Nuh-uh, baby. It's like it's all in Portuguese. So my small win, as I was looking at it, was like, okay, looking and trying to read it without using, my Google Translate camera or anything, and see if I could get it right. And this was just like, I think it did 2 pages. Um, and the one page I couldn't quite figure out with the faces, the celebrities, but the one page, like, I could figure it out and I got them all right. And so, like, I understood not only, the instructions, but it was really good. So that was a small win. That was a small win. Okay, I'm going back over to the comments. Uh, yeah, yeah, I think it is. And there are things that like unify, it's now being in Europe a year. Actually, I was on the metro coming back, and a couple of gentlemen from different ethnicities were watching a football game on their phones, and so it's a unifier. Um, and then, there are also, like I said, small wins for me is finding my way around, not getting uh, lost. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just reading some of these comments. All right. Um, yeah, I gotta find out about this. Pinky, flat ass club members unite. Let me tell you, I mean, when I'm here, I just be looking because we have a big mirror in my lobby, and so I always give myself like the once over before I leave. But also too, and I'm okay with embarrassing myself in this way. Sometimes I have a habit of walking out with things being backwards. And so sometimes it's like, oh, do I have this on the right side? But so I be checking my little ass out. I'm like, oh, look at it, look at it. But baby, when I get to the stage too long, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. It is not. It is not a good look. It is not a good look. Let's see. Let me go back into these questions. Michelle, do I watch Portuguese television? I watch Portuguese television if it's on, like when I'm getting my nails done or something, um, like a telenovela or something like that. But the news I watch mm, maybe like twice a month. I don't watch television that much, although like lately I've been on this unfortunate true crime thing on Netflix. I was not watching Netflix, and then I watched one true crime thing that now they keep serving me true crime stuff. And then now I'm going down this true crime rabbit hole that I need to force myself to stop now. But yes, I do that. Or when I'm at the dentist, they'll have like, tell you lay flat and then they have the screen with the subtitles. But if it's an English, like movie or something like that, it's always in language and then Portuguese subtitles. But yeah, there was a telenovela that I used to watch, Amor y Mayor on YouTube. It's a Portuguese one. I watched it a little bit since I've been here. It's a good one. It's a good one. Spain was Spain was Spain was mm, mm. It's getting hot in here. What? Mm. The men's was mm, mm, mm. I'll be going back. Spain was good. Spain was good. Now I couldn't believe it. I was like, why did it take me this long to get over there? They were spicy. Is there anything that you absolutely miss or need that you got in the States? Oh yeah, there's a couple things. Like one of the things that you do adjust to is the things that you don't have, right? So things that were important to me or still are important to me, I have to get, people to help me with. So, for example, I have big feet. I wear size 11 women's, and Portuguese women tend not to have big feet because they're also not too tall in stature. So it is a challenge for me to find a size, I think it's like 43, because they don't go that high for women. And so I have to look at countries that have taller women, or what I've done is either buy shoes when I'm in the States. That's been like my go to. Or this past time, I needed to replace my sneakers because I walk so much. And I didn't realize that I have hokas and I love my hokas, but I wore them down pretty quickly. I'm like, wait, why are my feet feeling like fatigue? And then I realized the amount of walking I do now compared to when I used to wear like regular sneakers in the States. I need to change my sneakers, 4 to 6 months. I went a year with the last pair that I had, and so asked someone to bring them for me. I ordered them, had them shipped, and then they were coming back. So that's kind of how I solve for most things. And there are other like relatively minor things. Like I have dry mouth, so I have these dry mouth lozenges that I can't seem to find here. So I order a bunch of them in bulk. I bring them with me, or have people bring them. So those are the kind of things. But everyday things, no. I used to order on Amazon, I would say fairly often because, I mean, it's one click, sometimes in a couple of hours it's there. I've tried doing Amazon here. Oh my God, I don't like it at all. And I'm actually glad that I don't, like to the point where I was just like, I don't need a um, Prime or anything. Nah, I'll figure it out in the States or just not have it at all. I ordered a few things and I tried to return it. It wound up being like a whole hot mess. Um, and the delivery here can be a little weird. But another one of those small wins was I had been here a year and still hadn't interacted with the post office. And so I had to ship an item back and then work through, that whole process because it was something I had avoided. But yeah, that's kind of like one of the things that I've had to adjust to. Uh, let's see. I did. I did. Yeah, Spain was trying to seduce me, or more to the point, the men's. But one of the things that like really struck me was I is a couple of us. So one of our friends was on a house sit, and then we turned it into like a girls trip. And so we were standing in front of a restaurant that we had gone to like the day before for breakfast. And it was really, 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 really good. And we we're like, oh, we got to go back. Right. Next day, like, because first day it was some hot guys, second days, even hotter guys. But that wasn't why we were there. But so we were standing there, and I don't know why, but because I think we got there maybe like 8:30. Yeah, it was 8:30 a.m. and it was closed. And I was like, "It's closed," and it was a weekday. So I'm like, "It has to be open by 8:30 because people go to work, right?" No, that thing opened at 9:30. So I was like, "Oh, okay." And so as we were standing there, we had like an hour to kill. This van pulls up, and this guy comes out, and he's like loading all of these boxes of fresh fruits and vegetables and like yay high, stacking them. And then he like pulls off. It's for the restaurant, clearly. But there's no employees in the restaurant. We're the only people standing outside, and it's just on this street in Sevilla. And I'm like, this would not happen in America. Like, homeboy wouldn't even be able to get to the corner before somebody would have jacked all of that stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. And so it's part of like this whole, life abroad is reaffirming my belief in humanity. Like, that you can have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and it is inhumane that there are people who live in a food desert. Um, it's also inhumane to manufacture highly processed foods that cause your populace to become, in a lot of ways, morbidly obese, right? And then keep them on this perpetual, hamster wheel of consumption. And so, you feel bad about, the fact that you're gaining weight, and then you eat more food, or, you get the bigger car, the bigger house, and the bigger supersize me. Or they say, oh, hey, we know it's not your fault that you're obese. Just take this pill that we don't know what the long term effects are, right? And so the more detached I am from it, the more I see a lot of the insidious nature of a lot of how we are conditioned in the States. Thank you. Let's see, I think I just missed one. It was Sevilla. We were in Seville, and Cadiz, Cadiz. Yeah, it's like, you place an order, and then, because my closest would be Amazon Spain. Now, we don't have borders, but it still has to come, over however the transport is, maybe plane, what have you. Then it has to go, obviously, through customs and things like that. And so it could be a day, it could be 5 days before you get your package. And then the return thing, like, is kind of weird, where in the States you go to like Amazon Locker, things like that. Here, sometimes they give you like a code, and then somebody comes to the house. But the guy came, he had one code, I had two things to return. I put them both in, and then only one ended up there. Never got a refund for the other item. Is the whole big thing. And I don't speak the language enough to explain. And so, I was like, well, it is what it is. But yeah, it's not my it wasn't my favorite thing to do. And so I said, okay, I don't really need to do it again. I don't need to do it again. Plus I'm not a huge shopper. Yeah, and I used to work for a pharmaceutical company, so I know that old game all too well. Um, yeah, it's a relief to to watch TV and not hear about like medicines that are gonna, may cause these side effects. It's like, oh my gosh. The only time I encounter it is when like I have my VPN on and I'm watching like something from the States. And I was actually telling my mother this earlier. So I was watching something and I don't even remember what I was watching because I don't really watch a lot of TV, but it was something. Oh, it might have been this whole like I said, this whole cycle I've been on Netflix. It was like worst was the first show I was watching. Worst Worst roommate ever. Oh my gosh. Then I started watching, now I'm on to worst ex ever. And so there would be these ads that pop up, and it would be like, oh, now on FanDuel, you can bet on blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, and over again. And then it's like, if you have a gambling problem, call blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what America does best is separate you from your money. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, not to digress, but like when I was having this conversation with her, my mother, she was saying, yeah, she went to the doctor for something recently and paid her copay, and then they didn't mark that she had paid it at the time of service. So then she was like, no, I paid it. I have the receipt. They were like, our mistake. Oh, but while we have you on the phone, you're still going to get another bill. And she's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I paid my copay. Oh no, the facilities fee. What? Your doctor has an office, right? Like, he's not seeing patients out of his car or on the street corner. Like, is that? But it makes sense. Like, not. I'm saying this sarcastically, because planes have figured out a way to make it where you buy your plane ticket, but you don't get a seat, as if it were a bus and you can stand in the aisle. It's so asinine. It's like, it's not a bus, it's not a train. I can't stand in the aisle and hang there. I need to be in a damn seat. So, what does the ticket like afford me? But yes, I digress. I digress. I digress. Oh, I agree. I mean, there's been plenty of skinny people that have dropped dead too, but I think the bigger part is the food is in the States. Most countries don't accept US food. So, and it's because of the chemicals that they put into the food, the microplastics. I mean, 70% of the food in the United States is overprocessed, ultra processed, excuse me, ultra processed food. Like, it's a food product that may not even contain food. It's like one ingredient that was manufactured and then mixed with another ingredient. And then there's all these like, recalls happening. The one, I think the latest one, like now they're not making liverwurst, which I used to live on when I was a little kid, because of some salmonella or something outbreak it's a mess. It's a mess. Dog walkers expected to pick up after their pet. That is not something they do well here. They do not pick up after their pets. I've asked why that is because they seem to like animals very, very much, but not enough to pick up after them. Mm-mm. Uh, yeah, I mean it's a money maker, right? And the FDA doesn't really do anything. Let's see, where was I up to? Oh, okay, here we go. I'm trying to get down my list. So, feeling like a tourist and a local at the same time, right? So, as someone who like lives in a city that also has seasonality, and I say that with an asterisk now because um, it's starting to be where there isn't a low season in Lisbon anymore, because it's a temperate climate. People come all year round, especially if you're in Europe, right? In part of the Schengen, no borders, right? So I don't know if we're gonna get to a low season again, but I don't indulge in a lot of touristy things, um, because I want to save things for when people come and visit. So there's still quite a lot I haven't seen. Actually, my daughter, who's coming to visit in a few months, she was like, "Oh, I want to do the aquarium again," which I did when she was here, and she wanted to do the zoo, which I still haven't done. And the reason for that is like when people come and visit, I want it to be fresh and new and exciting for me too. And if I'm doing all the stuff now, then I don't know, it doesn't have the same wow factor. And so I've just made it a decision for myself to hold off on certain things. And I like exploring and finding out like the local spots. And I also do that in other countries, meaning when we were looking for food, when we were in Spain, the giveaway is okay, if I'm walking into a place or walking past a place and I'm hearing conversations and I can understand it, that's usually the tourist trap, right? Because where are the locals? Where are the conversations that I can't understand? Where are the people that are talking and they look like they're from here and like everybody and their whole family is in there? That's the spot. That's the spot, right? I've learned that as somebody who travels. And so, you know, um, that is something that I've enjoyed. Yeah, I definitely am going back. When my daughter comes, it was really fun. Um, yeah, the food is, and I saw an earlier comment about plant-based foods being processed. Yeah, I used to eat, some of them were Beyond Meat and all this other stuff. And you know, not to digress, as somebody who was a marketer. Um, there are words that you can use that to the consumer mean one thing, but under the law or guidelines, they mean something else. So, food, was it plant based? Couldn't also be plant derived. Doesn't mean that it's good for you, doesn't mean that it's healthy. And so, like, I used to watch a lot of food documentaries, which would put me on the path. Jazzy D, good question. November 1st through the 3rd. Bam, bam. It's on the website, though. It probably needs to be more overt. But yes, great question. Okay. Patience is your superpower. I won't spend a lot of time on this one because if you've been watching me, you know it took 205 days to get my residency card. 205 days. It took our friend Marguerite 231 days, I think it was. And another one of our members has been here since December and went to get processed in January and still hasn't had hers. But yet another reason why you need to buy a ticket to the Move to Portugal Virtual Summit, because we will have the latest and greatest on all those issues. But one of the reasons why you also want to buy a ticket to the summit is there is, no lie, a 400,000 case backlog at present in Portugal. And last year, there was a 32-ish% uptick in foreigners living here. So now the number is 1 million. That's a lot of people. When you think about it in the context of a country that has 10 million people, 1 million people is a lot. 1 million extra people, right? And so that is why you want to buy a ticket to the summit. You want to know what are the changes, because it's like around this time of year that you'll see in most countries start to do their planning in terms of what are they going to change, right? Like how much more expensive is it going to be in terms of what they're going to look for from you with respect to how much money that you have or bring here. And not just here, like most countries have a means test. But yeah, I've learned to pack my patience. It is a necessity. And then friendships, yeah, they evolve and sometimes they fade, right? Communication can change, particularly if you are halfway around the world and you're in a different time zone. I have to make it like, I talk to my daughter all the time. Like we're messaging throughout the day. I talk to my mom most days. Although when I'm really busy, she knows it'll be a couple days that will lapse. My son is very interesting in his communication patterns, but like there's an ebb and flow to it. But then other conversations kind of like fall by the wayside, and that's okay, right? Like I live here, I'm not there. I have no desire to go back there. And so it's okay. But you just have to kind of know that going in. And for the people that you want to maintain relationships with and who want to maintain them with you, a good rule of thumb is to like, work out that schedule, that routine in advance. And that's going to say, so maybe it's like, oh, hey, Sunday at blah, 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 3 o'clock, we're going to always have our time. Try to keep to that, right? I think that will help people on both sides, right? The people that miss you, they won't feel like they're intruding on whatever thing you have going on, your new life. And then you also won't be feeling like, well, because there's this distance, that you're not as important. For me, like I'm 4,300 miles away from my mom, 3,500 miles away from my kids. That's a lot. That's a lot of miles, right? But like I said, because it goes back to what I said in the beginning of being grateful for doing this journey now, because of these devices and the connectivity, I'm able to share things in real time, a video, a picture, a good night, a good morning. Those are the things, those are the moments that matter. And if this were 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you know, what would I be doing? Writing a letter and mailing it, and then it'd be like a week or two before they get it. And while, there's still a lot to be said about handwritten notes and getting things physically through the mail, I think what helps in easing this transition is the fact that, we are so connected and doing it in this lifetime, in this space. Yay, I'm glad you got your ticket. Hey, Patricia. Hey, glad you could make it. 400,000 case backlog. Yes. You want to get a ticket to the summit. Yes. Natural and all natural. Yeah. It's marketing speak. Like I said, when I was in the States, my big thing on the weekends when, I wash my hair and I have a lot of hair, so it takes a long time. And I would watch these documentaries on a variety of topics. And then I'd get like incensed. And then I'd call my mom, like, do you know what they're putting in the food? Do you know what do you know what they did to us? Da-da-da-da. Like, yeah, yeah. And now I eat, like, I guess for the most part clean. I guess for the most part clean. Like today I made this lovely salad and it was cucumbers and cucumbers and tomatoes, chickpeas, an avocado, and red onions. It was quite tasty and filling. And then just a nice little head pasta for dinner. Another thing is you will rediscover or discover your identity. One of the things that I've enjoyed in this year is discovering things about myself, like continuing to discover things. I have so many pictures in my phone of flowers. And then I was on this kick over the summer, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, where, not now because my nails need to be done, but where I would like walk around when I was walking Bailey or just going for my walks, and I would see plants or flowers that I liked, and I would take a picture. And then when I would get my nails done, I would match whatever I saw, and it inspired me. And so that's been like a new thing. Just, being around trees and admiring the leaves on the trees and just paying attention to architecture and influences and just, I don't know, there's just been this wonderment that's been in my life. And goes back to what I said earlier about gratitude, is being grateful that I made this decision to do it now and not 10 years from now, or I guess 15 years from now, when society tells me I'm at the age of retirement. And, at the end of the day, bodies change and they age, and this body is changing and aging on a daily basis. And so I want to be able to do and enjoy all of these things while I can, Like I had dropped my keys off to a friend to take Bailey out tomorrow. And, it's like I dashed upstairs and then ran for the bus. Like I ran. And uh, I want to be able to do that, like for a while. Um, and it feels good to be able to do that. But I know that that may not be the case. 20 years from now, I might not be able to sprint the way, I was able to sprint today. But that's the thing. It's like being able to explore. And like I said, especially living in Europe, where we were actually having this conversation when we were going to get our textbooks. The ADA does not, that's a US thing. And it's a good thing, right? But there's not a form of the ADA in Portugal, at least. It's the only country that I've lived in outside of the United States. And so it isn't uncommon to go to a metro station and the escalators not work, or the elevators not work, or, there isn't. a device like when you press the button for the traffic light, so you can walk as a pedestrian. You're used to, they usually have the curb cuts, but usually, or actually, I encountered it, I think, a few times in Spain, where when you went to cross the street, you also had the noise, right? The sound, so to cross the street for those people that need it. And as somebody who has been, challenged with some slight hearing loss, I started thinking, more attuned to these things. Um, but that's part of the wonderment. That's part of the discovery is, you know, thinking about things in a different way, not only about myself, but as part of a collective. As someone who's come from an individualistic society in the United States, and to now be part of the collective, I think about not only my things, but I also think about other people and how they navigate the world. And so that's been something that's been a joy for me. And then also as I start to now embark on year two, what are the things that now that I'm more settled into my life here that I want to rediscover. I went to this writing event last night I was talking about with Lori Tharps, and some of you have read the article that I wrote on Portugal last year. I think it was last year for Condé Nast World Traveler. And part of me is like, oh, do I want to pick back up, some more writing? Do I want to, do some other things in addition to the podcast? Things that I've enjoyed in the past. Shar, who was on a few weeks ago, we've talked. She's a big scrapbooker, and that was a big part of my life when my daughter was little. So I think one of the things that has been a joy has been having the time to think about what it is that I want to do versus what I think people think I should do, what society tells me I should want to do. Um, and that's been very fulfilling. All right, let me go back to these comments. Bam, bam. Yeah, isn't it a beautiful thing? Like, yeah, birds chirping and, seeing people playing with their kids. I pay attention to couples holding hands, especially the older couples. It's been a joy. Hey, Marguerite's in the house. I was just talking about you, friend. You said Franken food. Yes, yes, yes. Wow. Wait. What is this? Those food docs will have you in a chokehold. I went vegan after watching What the Health. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that one. It's tough for me currently to be vegan with mostly processed options. Yeah, I can imagine. Because I'm telling you, like, you go to the mercados here, or people, you can grow food. Like, I thought about growing like a vertical garden in my balcony. Um, it's amazing. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Cindy and I used to work together. Oh gosh, it's been a minute. Was it 20 years? Hey, I mean, we are connected on Facebook, but I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, girl, hey, I love you too. Hey, and the girls, oh my gosh. Well, can't even call them little girls anymore. They're young women. Oh my gosh. She's got two twin daughters who are like, I guess, right? Maybe in their mid 20s now, if I'm not mistaken. Gosh, I'm getting old. Out of 1 million, how many are US citizens? That's a great question. There's not that many. So there was a breakdown, and I think Although sometimes I think things and they don't really happen. But I think I might have shared it in the group in Blaxitglobal Passport because I was reading the article last night. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see if we're going to do this in real time. Okay, Jess? All right. Okay. Where did I read the article? Can I get to it quickly? Is it this one? It might have been. It might have been this one. No. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. Portugal hits 1 million foreign residents mark. Okay, the foreign population residing in Portugal, this is according to Portugal News, increased by 33.6% in 2023 compared to the previous year, which now totals 1,044,606 citizens with a residence permit, like myself. And so they also talk about the tremendous backlog. So in 6 years, the number of legal foreigners in Portugal more than doubled, rising from 480,000 in 2017 to now over 1 million. And that according to authorities, there were 400,000 pending processes or cases, as I mentioned earlier. This particular article doesn't give the breakdown, although I did read one this morning, but I don't think, I can't seem to find that one. But nevertheless, they did have the breakdown. And typically the breakdown is Brazilians make up a good number. It's in the hundreds of thousands, but US citizens, I think last year was like 10, no, I think it was like 6 or 7,000 last year. So I don't know, maybe we're at 10,000 now. It's not a lot. So if you think about it, if the number is 10,000, let's go with 10,000, and it's a country of 10 million, and also 1 million people that have now immigrated here. It's still a small number of Americans. So people are oftentimes inquisitive about why, as an American, I'm living in Portugal. Even actually, my Portuguese instructor asked me, like, "Whoa, you're from the States? Like, what are you doing here?" It's like, clearly you've not been in America. But yeah, so we're not the ones that are driving up prices, even though you might see that in articles, particularly in the U.S. It's not us. We're still such a small number. And then if you slice it even more by Black Americans, I don't even think we're a percentage. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But that said, we have an awesome community. Actually, BJ, what did you say? Krishan, can you ask your friend? I will ask Marcelo when I see him next week. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I will ask. um, let's see. Let's see. What are we up to now? La, la, la. Yeah, this comment. So one of the things that also has changed, it's not on my list, but you actually made me think about that because I was thinking about it when I came in today. I swear I have increased my life expectancy in this move. Why do I say that? Even with my present hearing issues, because somebody who suffers from ringing in her ears for over a year, there is a correlation between this sound that goes in my ear on a constant basis and dementia, right? That said, because I'm in a new country and everything is new, and literally every day I'm figuring out my environment, I might be taking a different bus. I might be, like I said, trying to figure out, like, for the next 5.5 months, I'm going to be 4 days a week, inundated with Portuguese for multiple hours, right? They talk about neuroplasticity of the brain and the fact that as humans, we have not even tapped in the full capacity of our brains. That being here and exposing myself not only to new things, better quality food, better quality of life, way less stress, way less stress. And the weathering that Black Americans in particular experience because of the racism and misogynoir and a myriad of other things that we deal with in the United States in particular. That being away from all that, being in an environment where I'm constantly learning, whether it's a new word, a new food, whatever, it's increasing my life expectancy. Walking, that for damn sure has increased my life expectancy. Like when we went to Spain, I rented a car, and that was only my second time renting a car in the past. Yeah, the first time I rented a car was in December. Um, but other than that, I'm always taking public transportation, with the exception at nighttime, I tend to get a ride share because when I'm tired, like I'm just ready to go home. I don't want to be trying to get home for an hour. Um, but it's just like meeting people, dancing in the streets, just doing these like fun things, tapping into that energy, that boundless energy I had when I was younger. I think it helps me age backwards. And I've even seen it in the comments here with some of you who said, like, oh my God, you look like you're younger. And even people when they meet me in person, like, oh, you're 50. No. Like, yeah, yeah. But I think that I know that moving abroad has helped in a big way. Patricia said, U.S. passport online system. Yes, I did see that. I shared that the other day. Isn't it awesome? Yes. Oh, thank you, Diane. Thank you. Yes, it's about 10,000. I think it's about 10,000. Um, Jazzy D. No, they are not being forced to go back home. Actually, they're still trying to get in here. Actually, I met someone last night who's a Brit that's moving here in the process. And then you all remember when I had Michael on from this past season. Yeah, yeah, as of 2023 or 2024, excuse me, 2024. Now that's for the D7, the retirement visa. Now, like I said, this is the time of year where pretty much every country, and I also shared today Nomad lists, and there was another one, list of world's strongest passports. No surprise, the US is not in the top 50. But that said, oh shoot, where was I going with this one? I forgot. Oh, the income. It's this time of year where all countries start to look at the cost of living. So they look at the minimum wage and create like a multiplier. Obviously, it's a cost of living adjustment. And then they start using that to forecast for the upcoming year in terms of visa requirements. But countries are within their right to change that shit at any time. Think about the US when 45 was in office, remember? And he was locking people out all the time. I'm just saying. Actually, there was another article I shared in the group. I think it was earlier this week, where Germany, even though they're part of the Schengen, was is starting to crack down on people from other countries. I think Romania might have been on that list, and Bulgaria and Hungary. You know, countries, a lot of countries are feeling the effects of over tourism, Portugal being one of them. Um, People who had like this, there's been this still pent up demand as it relates to life post pandemic. And a lot of people became migratory. Those people that had remote jobs or were flying under the radar during COVID and planted themselves in other countries. And, you know, you can't also ignore the power of influencers. You know, we tried to go to our taco spot last night and whew, somebody let the secret out. Not only was the taco spot line like down the block, but taco spot is almost doubled in price. Hmm. So, you know. Oh, good. I'm glad. I am glad because, you know, I'm 50 years old and starting to learn a new language. Although when I was in Spain, I some of the Spanish had to come back to me because I was like, I'm so used to now communicating in Portuguese, and then somebody would do something, and I'd be like, "Oh, yes." But it is great to be, you know, somewhere and thinking about like how to communicate. You know, I feel it is. I feel it makes my brain work because, you know, sometimes you could just do these things, jobs, live your life. You know, it's like sleepwalking. Another thing, homesickness. Homesickness does happen because, at least for me, occasionally it does happen because, you know, I miss my kids, right? My son's birthday was last week. He turned 24. My daughter's birthday is next week. She's turned 19. You know, there's these moments that happen in you know your life, or even though I didn't when I turned 50, some people are like, oh, you know, your kids coming for your birthday. I'm like, no, did they want to see Mama get down like that on the yacht? I don't think so. Nor did I want them there for that. Anyway, but there are moments where you get homesick. So last year I missed out on Thanksgiving because I had kind of just gotten here. I didn't have my residency card. It was my on my dad's side. His sister had turned 80 because my dad passed away many years ago, but he has two surviving siblings, and one's in his 90s and the other one's in her 80s. And luckily, they live right next to each other. But I wasn't able to go back home for Thanksgiving. So I am going this year, even though I did not have any plans to go to America and definitely did not want to go to America right after the election. I am going back for Thanksgiving. But that said, right, like there are moments where, you know, you're gonna miss things. That's just part of the life, right? And so whether it be like unexpected homesickness, which kind of struck in the beginning when I got here, even though I went back like right after I got here, my daughter turned 18 and I flew back. But after a while, it was just like, oh, okay, you know, like what's my new normal? Now it rarely happens, um, but it doesn't mean it's never going to happen, right? It doesn't mean it's never going to happen. But that's just something that you have to mentally prepare for. And like I said, with all those things like keeping in contact with people, setting up a routine, creating your new normal, rediscovering parts of yourself. You start to literally build your yourself, your family, and your new existence. And the last thing is fear. Fear holds you back. That's something that I've learned, particularly over this year, in doing what I do, in helping people. I've seen people be really great out the gate, so much so that they're like, like jet propulsion. And then, you see people that have a lot of enthusiasm, but then create these false roadblocks for themselves, or let things that are minor impediments become big boulders, and create arbitrary deadlines and artificial conditions that prevent them from taking the leap that they say they want to do. I'm not here to force anybody to leave wherever they are in the world, and choose something that they're opposed to doing. But during my time doing Blacks Global, and next year makes 5 years, I've seen quite a bit, right? I've seen the people that, like I said, are really self motivated. I've seen the people that come in and they have a desire and need encouragement along the way. I've also seen the people that are just like there to be curious voyeurs to see like what's the hubbub about. Um, then there's the naysayers, of course. Got the haters apparently. Occasionally they pop up, and I block them like whack-a-mole. And then you have the people that, I don't know if it's talk a good game, but they talk it because they like the energy of the people, but will not make a move. Even though they say they want to do it, but their actions are the opposite, right? Oh, I need more money, but you just bought a new car. Oh, you just bought a new house. Oh, you just, insert whatever. You just created this arbitrary deadline for yourself, or I want to give this to my kid, and I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. Like, it's not my life. I'm here. I'm free. It's just to say that fear can hold you back, and fear can keep you from living the life that you deserve. So many of us have been programmed to believe that we are beasts of burden, particularly for the United States, or that if we don't struggle, or if it wasn't hard to attain, then we don't deserve it, or we're not worthy of it. Our ancestors paid that debt in full many times over. So we get to honor them by living out their dreams for us. And that means a life of ease. That means a life of peace. That means a life of contentment, fulfillment, happiness, joy. That is our reparations. That is our rebuttal to the things that the other people that want to continue to create more burdens and hurdles, like, have at it. Like, I got my piece. I'm good. Right? I'm good. And so that's like the big middle finger to the establishment, is you pursuing your joy, you rebuking capitalism, white supremacy, right? The system, the structure that perpetuates your own oppression. That is the rebuttal to that. Um, at least that's what I feel. But in order to get there, we got to kick fear in the face. Okay, I think I got to the end of my list. 1 minute, 1 hour and 40. Okay, not too bad. Yeah. I know. As somebody who I guess I fall into that category, as much as I criticize it, I think technically I am one. Yeah. But if it wasn't for influencers, I wouldn't have found out about Portugal. You know? Are you considering a meetup when you come to the States? No. 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 Plus, I'll be in South Carolina. No. Mm-mm. Thank you, Wesley. Talent visa for artists. Yeah, they have them. A couple countries do. They'll be under like entertainment visas. They have sports visas. They've got, I mean, tons of them. This skill shortage list. Um, Definitely for those of you who can do ancestry through citizenship by ancestry. There are a lot of different ways. Do, 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 do. I was recently told that I don't belong in Portugal after I told an acquaintance I have there about my difficulties and frustrations in finding a place to live. Look, don't be believing these people. Tell them to go. You belong wherever you are, wherever you want to be, right? And look, if you can't handle the bureaucracy, that is something that you're going to have to find out, right? Like, when I came, I didn't know I was going to have to wait 205 days. I just knew there was bureaucracy and that things moved slow and that there were things that were out of my control. But guess what? One thing that I've learned is if it's not a today problem, I don't worry about it anymore. Old me would have, but new me, no. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think that that goes with knowing your reason why. And I go over that over and over. I probably sound like a broken record about knowing your why and the importance of knowing your why because you cannot copy and paste somebody else's life onto yours. It's not going to work, right? Like you can say, "Oh wow, I watched Krishan and oh yeah, Portugal's for me, like sight unseen." Like okay, or drop yourself in like a remote part of like I saw there was this one. I think I shared it right before I went live. I think Spain is paying people. I think it's like 17,000 euro to go live in like this remote area, and it's like some people will do that, and that's okay, right? Like if you're motivated by money and the desire to get out, hey, have at it. But as somebody who loves her life here, loves the community that is here, I know that if I were to just chase money, that I would be miserable. Like 17,000 would not be worth me sitting, somewhere isolated from people and not knowing the language. Right? It's just I don't know. But some people are cut out for that, right? Like I am not. I am not. That's right. Not liking bureaucracy is not the same as not belonging there. Yeah, get around people that are going to pour into you. That said, for those of you who are interested, this Sunday in Black's Global Passport is our accountability group, our monthly accountability group. So for those of you who need extra support, come on in. I will be I will not be home because I got invited somewhere. So I will not be home. So we will keep it to an hour for our accountability group. Just give y'all a heads up now. Um, let's see. I think I got through everything. Do, 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 do. Yes, I did. I did. Aw, thank you. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, Patricia. We just need to help you speed things up a bit. Um, Oh, no, I don't have an international driver's license. Lucky for me, because like I said, these things change all the time. So it used to be when you came into Portugal, particularly from the United States, that you had to turn in your license and then get a Portugal license within, I think it was like 6 months or something like that. But then they changed the rule, I think it was late 2022, if I remember correctly, where they grandfathered the US in. It was an exclusion before. And they said basically whatever the expiration date is of your license in your home country stands for the license in Portugal. And since I had changed my residency to Florida, and I forget how long the license is there. Maybe it's like 6, 7 years. I don't know what the hell it is. It was good. I don't have to do anything. When I rent a car, I show my passport, I show my driver's license. I'm good. I'm good. I didn't drive in the UK. Um, but I have driven in New Zealand, and they also drive on the opposite side of the road. I have no problem doing that now. I just have to be very careful when I drive on the other side because everything's backwards, right? Like the driver's side is on the passenger side, you turn, like the direction is different. Even as a pedestrian, you have to be careful because my inclination is to look left, and then I have to look, kind of do all this stuff, but it works. All right, y'all. I think I did it. I think I shared my list. I appreciate y'all tuning in and helping me celebrate my 1 year abroad. I did it. I did it. I did it. And that is something no one can take away from me. And no one can take away from you. So I hope to see some of you on this Sunday in our accountability group. I will be back next Thursday. I don't think I have a guest next week, but I do the week after. So hope you will tune in. In the meantime, let's see, what time is it? Ooh, sugar, sugar, sugar. It's already tomorrow. I got to go to bed. I got class tomorrow. I got to do my Portuguese. All right, y'all. Be well.